Hey all, I'm Lisa Phillips and I'm the Territorial Sales Manager for Metlife Auto and Home, a farmer's insurance company that's part of Foremost. So I think it's probably best to lead a little bit with that acquisition information. So I'll do that so everyone isn't confused. We Metlife Auto and Home, just our product, our personal lines products were acquired by Foremost. So we're in the process of transitioning and changing our branding right now. So you'll probably see some different branding in a few of the different product guides and as well as the online things that I'll be using. So over the next 60 days, they're going to land on what the final logo looks like. But right now, we are a part of Foremost Insurance that is owned by farmers. I do want to let you know too, a lot of people are familiar with Foremost Insurance, and obviously they're a great supplier for things like landlords, for people that have more than 4 landlord properties. That seems to be a magical cutoff. Also for people that have toys like motorcycles or RVs or different things of those sort. Also your vacant homes and your mobile homes. So a lot of people in Ohio already have a Foremost appointment. I did want to mention that not all of those people are getting access to this product line. So, MetLife Auto and Home, for those of you who might be familiar, with us, we're really a preferred package provider. So this is really new territory for Foremost, and there's not really, any redundancy. So they acquired our whole division, all 3,500 employees, all of the software, the books of business, the technology, and even the buildings. So at this point, we're technically part of Foremost, but just know that this particular product line that you guys are going to have access to is not something that everyone, all the independent agencies on your street is going to have. So I just kind of like to lead up front with that. So I'm really excited to be hooking up with you guys. We had our first training yesterday and it was really well attended. It was great to see the enthusiasm, and I think it's really going to be a great partnership, because I think that this is probably going to be a suite of products that is going to be very flexible for you and your clients. I'd like to go ahead and give you an overview of our systems and our products, as well as our platform that's used for quoting and issuing business. You'll find that with this training, I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds as far as, the minutia of different things. I really want to give you guys an overview and then just encourage you to, to call and to, let me know if you have questions or concerns or things that we have to work through. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started. I'm actually going to go ahead and switch screens here, and I'm going to start us out with the producer news portal. So let me go ahead and get back here. All right. Can you see my screen with the producer news portal with the Foremost logo there?
We can.
Okay, great. So this is the producer news portal and is kind of the basic landing page for all things, MetLife Auto and Home, now Foremost. So this is going to give you access to training, to our products, all of to the guides and manuals, and all of the things that you'll need to learn more about writing business with us. So the first thing that I would like to talk about is the products. Let's go ahead and jump in here and talk a little bit about the different products that we have available. Just to give you a little bit of an overview about what has happened in Ohio recently, some of you might be familiar with the old Grand Protect product. That is a name that has been associated with MetLife for years. It's an excellent product, and it was something that was available on our legacy system, which is called ARS. You will have 2 systems with us that you're using, Met360 as well as the ARS. So back to the products. We have 2 systems, the Met360 and our ARS. Met360 is a brand new suite of products and a platform that debuted in Ohio last year at the end of September. So the old Grand Protect product that we had available in ARS was extremely popular, a very rich policy, offered a lot of different things that were built in, like, blanket coverage and guaranteed rebuild and all of these great things. But the thing is it wasn't a particularly flexible product. If you qualified and the price was right, great. You had a really great policy that was filled out. But there was not an ability to kind of change and customize those coverages as much as we would like. So thankfully, now that we have Met 360 in Ohio, we've got a suite of products that are much more flexible and have a lot more features that can be added on or omitted depending on what your customers need. I'm going to go ahead and start here in the auto. You can see here that this is a great landing page. When you choose the products, you'll see all the ones that are labeled new are the ones that are part of Met 360, and that's what you'll be using to write the home and the auto and the umbrella in Ohio. So you'll notice that you want to go ahead and make sure that you're selecting new so that you get access to all of the product features and, of course, all of the underwriting guidelines. And you can see here that this is great. This is really kind of all things that we need, that you need to know about the differences between the legacy product and the new product, and also underwriting guidelines and a lot of other resources right here at your fingertips. You can see here that we highlight the key changes between Met 360 and ARS. And this is a place where we can get in and find the underwriting guidelines. So I'm actually going to go ahead and get in here. And I'm going to bring up the auto or underwriting guidelines so that you can take a look at them. Choose the state of Ohio. Now you'll see when you go in to choose underwriting guidelines that you're just going to have the states that you're appointed in. Just because I'm signed in with my corporate access, I kind of see everything, whether or not that applies to you or not. So just know that when you log into the producer news portal with your ID, you're only going to see things that are germane to your agency specifically. Let me go ahead and get into the underwriting guidelines, and I'll bring these up. Perfect. Google Chrome is going to give you the best experience when you're using the producer news portal and Met 360. And you can see that that downloads right here. And I'm going to open it up so you can take a look at it. Perfect. All right. So you can see right here that we've got the list of the underwriting guidelines for the auto. Now, auto is pretty straightforward. It's all going to be pretty much around acceptable driving records, and incidents and what the operator has going on. I just will mention to you that we don't have a non-standard auto product available for you. We just have our preferred standard product. So you can see the rules right here. But it's going to be an issue with us if in the last 5 years somebody's had a DUI or a reckless op or a major. That's going to be something that unfortunately you're not going to be able to write with us. Now, if the client has had a lapse in their prior insurance, and let's say that maybe they needed to get an SR22 because they got pulled over, they didn't have insurance, or they got a letter, from the state that they had to provide proof of the insurance and they didn't have it, so they had to get an SR22. Those are actually policies that we can write. Somebody specifically asked about that yesterday, so I did want to go ahead and bring that up to you. So I would encourage you to access the underwriting guidelines whenever you really want to take a look at them, because the issue is if there are changes made and you've got something that's saved, if something changes, you want to make sure that you're aware of it. So I would just encourage you to go out and look at the underwriting guidelines fresh each time, as opposed to having the urge to save them and then maybe 4 or 5 months down the road we've had a change and it just wouldn't be something that you would see. So they're always accessible out here on the producer news portal and easy to get to. So I'll go back here to the auto. Just a couple of things, coverages that are going to set us apart probably on the auto with other carriers. We do offer endorsements for both people who do local delivery. So things like DoorDash, Grubhub, they deliver pizzas, they deliver flowers, they work for a specific place and they do delivery. just for that business. We also have an endorsement called the rideshare endorsement. That's going to provide some additional coverage for your people that are driving for Uber or Lyft. And certainly with, the pandemic, I think that as part of your fact finding process, it's a really good idea to talk to people to see if they're doing driving any sort of delivery or do Uber or anything as a side hustle. Because you know how everyone is, they've got auto insurance. They think, hey, I'm fully covered, and they might not understand that their existing private auto policy doesn't provide any coverage for business usage. So we do have things there that will fill in those gaps. But again, I think important discussions to have with your customer, given the current landscape of what people are doing and so much disruption in the job market. We also do have some wonderful packages. I'm going to go ahead and actually go right over here so you can see our product guide. Nick and Heather will make sure that you have a copy of this product guide. This just outlines some of the cool features in our auto product, as well as some of the different coverage limits and endorsements that you can get. We have a lot of the standard kind of things that people are looking with for modern policies: the diminishing deductible, full glass coverage should you need that, have the ability to insure for OEM parts on those newer cars, loan lease gap coverage. We also offer worldwide liability, which is something that differentiates us, pretty well from the competition. And you'll see here for the auto and the home, we've got 3 different packages that we offer. And I'm going to scroll down so you can see those: Value Plus, the Enhanced Plus, and the Grand Protect. All of these are wonderful policies that have a lot of features. We currently write the most in the Enhanced Plus, which is kind of the middle ground right here. I think because it really gives the most flexibility as far as the coverages that you can pick and choose for the client. Now you can see here that with the Value Plus plan, just the minimum liability bodily injury is the state minimum limit. And then with the Enhanced Plus, the minimum is going to be $5,100, and then Grand Protect $100, $300 for the minimum coverages. But of course, as long as you're meeting what the minimum is in each group, you can change the minimum liabilities and bodily injury to any limit that you want. And you can see here, it breaks it out on this sheet, what all of the package features are, what is required, and what is optional. So again, you will have these product sheets. I would really encourage you, these maybe are things that you would want to print out and take a highlighter to, just so it's easy to kind of see the differences between each package and what's required and what's not. I think when you're looking at coverages, again, go ahead and familiarize yourself with some of the features that are listed up here. You can see things like the Auto Extra package and the Travel package are things that a lot of other carriers don't have that we offer that are really, really nice features. Travel package is great for somebody who spends a lot of time on the road, whether it's for business or maybe they've got a child away at college or just a regular drive that they have to make. This is going to provide some additional protection should they have a breakdown and they need to get a meal and lodging. So this is going to provide some wonderful additional protection. The Auto Extra plan is actually going to include things that the insured might not normally think about. Things like key replacement, medical expenses for pets, airbag replacement, having windshield wipers replaced if the windshield needs to be replaced, bike racks, ski racks. So a lot of rich coverages that are built into these packages, and they give you the option of really picking and choosing what your customer wants and needs. So great auto product, lots of different features entailed. Like I said, I don't want to get too deep here because I know you're going to have the product pages and you're going to be able to look at these. Do any of you have any questions just off the bat about our auto coverage, or any of the endorsements or any of the things that we touched on here?
I have just a quick question, Lisa. I just want to clarify, when you say worldwide coverage on the auto, does that include Mexico?
The Mexico coverage is a little bit different. I'm going to scroll back up here that you can see. Let's go ahead. Mexico coverage is limited. So if the insured is in an accident when driving an insured vehicle in Mexico within 25 miles of the United States border, this coverage will pay to return the vehicle back to the US and pay for repairs. So then when we scroll down to the liability, you can see this provides worldwide auto liability, medical expense, and personal liability protection, along with global coverage for personal property. So worldwide liability covers most countries, but there are a few countries that it is not active in. So I will get a little bit more information to you on the worldwide liability, just so you know exactly where they would have that coverage and where they wouldn't.
Okay, thank you.
Sure thing. Any other questions? All right, awesome. We'll go ahead then and move on here to the homeowners product, because obviously homeowners is a little bit, has more features and some different things. So I definitely want to make sure that we have time to talk about our home insurance. So again, this is the product page on the home, and you can see it starts out with the key features and the features that are different between our legacy product and Met 360. So you can see here some additional coverages that we've added. Home systems protection is really a big one. We added that service line coverage and equipment breakdown. If any of you have ever had a service line that needed to be repaired in your home or in a client's home, you know that that can be really, really expensive. So we're really glad to now have that coverage available, because I think that that's something that people don't really understand that they're necessarily responsible for, but can be quite an expensive fix. So that is something that we have out there, for your clients, should they want to add that to their policy. We've also got special packages for covering musical instruments and sports equipment, luxury items, like if somebody has a collection of really nice, shoes and high-end purses and things like that, we've really got some nice packages that you can add on to the policy that provide some additional coverage. I am also going to go into the guidelines for the homeowner and bring that up so you can take a look at it. Oops. And then the underwriting guidelines. I will mention too that you see two choices on your guidelines and manuals. Underwriting is going to be probably what you use the most, because that's like the rules about who you can write, when you can write them, and under what circumstances. Rule and rate manual, though, is really nice for understanding things like specific parameters of discounts or kind of other features. So I just want to make sure that you knew that that was out there as well. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at the underwriting guidelines. All right. And download that and pop it open. Great. All right. Homeowners, we can talk a little bit about the rules and things around what you can write. Prior losses, we're going to be okay with up to 2 losses, except if they are of the same loss type. So if somebody's got 2 water, 2 wind, 2 theft, 2 fire, that's going to be an issue for us. But if they've got a wind loss and a water loss, or a theft loss and a fire loss, those are going to be okay for us. So we're going to allow up to 2 losses there. As far as some of the rules about what we won't insure, obviously we've got some lists up here, things like whether they're vacant. These are all things that are probably not a surprise to you as far as a preferred carrier provider. Obviously, farming is going to be an issue for us when it's the primary source of income. Different things here. So I would just encourage you to review these and the rules if you're not really sure, if the person is going to be a good fit for us. Let's talk about roofing. And this is one thing that drove me crazy yesterday because I misspoke in the training. So I'm going to correct myself this time and make sure that people know it. We offer replacement cost for roofs up to 20 years old. Yesterday, I don't know what I was thinking. I said 15. In my mind, I knew it was 20. So apologies for people who might have been on the call yesterday. I'll make sure that people understand. Our homeowners policy is a replacement cost policy for roof up to 20 years. We will consider, and notice here, wood or flat roofs are going to be a 10-year mark. I don't know how many of those that you run into, but roof age is going to be 20 years old. Now, we potentially will write a roof that is over 20 years old if it's in good condition. However, it will not be a replacement cost roof. It will be an ACV value, and we would note that when you were writing the policy, because you would have to talk to underwriting if the roof was over 20 years old. But otherwise, it's going to be replacement cost on your roof, roof up to 20 years old. Of course, your roofs that are not the composition shingle, something like a slate roof, those are different rules altogether, because obviously with a slate roof, you don't replace the whole thing. It's just by pieces. So when I'm talking about a 20-year roof, I'm talking about your standard asphalt shingle that you would expect. High value homes for us are homes over 1.5 million. We do write homes over 1.5 million, but you would just need to get underwriting approval for that. And we actually have a section in underwriting that'll take you right there to speak to somebody for a high value home. Just something to keep in mind that with a $1.5 million home or more, you will need an alarm system. And high value homes, they will actually do an indoor inspection. Now, that being said, rules are a little bit different with COVID, and we have a lot of different resources available to us for inspections. So I don't know with high value homes. I'm thinking now that we're at the tail end, inspectors are wearing masks, that we'd be okay with that. If you have a client that has an issue with the inspection process or something due to COVID, just please let me know, because we can always talk to underwriting and make sure that we don't have an issue there. All right. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down just a little bit further. Additional risk characteristics. We do write policies with quote unquote dangerous dogs, and I'm loath to use that term because I've got a lot of dogs in my life. There's these breeds that are the absolute obvious of dangerous, but from an insurance standpoint, this is kind of our no dog list. But what's great with us is you can actually write policies with these animals. We would just exclude the liability, the dog bite liability. If they've got multiple dogs, like maybe they've got a pit bull and they've got a Labrador retriever, we will actually just exclude the bite liability for the pit bull, not for the retriever, because in the quoting process with us, it asks if they have pets, and if you select yes, it'll ask what kind of pet that they have, and then it'll ask you to select the breed for dogs. And if it's any of the dogs that are listed here, the liability bite exclusion will automatically print out with the application. So that is always something that I like to let people know, because it does set us apart a little bit that we have coverage available, that you don't have to not write the policy with us because of those animals. You can see here for our homeowners, our coverage A limits and what we require with scheduled personal property. So these underwriting guidelines are going to be a great resource to tell you exactly what you can write in the homeowners and what you can't with us. So I'm going to close this because I'm going to toggle back over here to the homeowners. So you can see here, again, some of the features that we offer, in the homeowners. Like many of your higher end carriers, like the Encompass and the Travelers and Chubb, we do offer a blanket property limit as an option, where all of the coverages for everything are rolled into one master limit. People really love that. We do also offer guaranteed rebuild, which right now, my goodness, more than ever, that's really important, because as you guys may know, as you're talking to insureds that have had to have repairs done on their home due to losses, or if they're just doing maintenance repairs, materials are incredibly expensive right now. I'm getting my roof replaced, just like a personal story, and when I talked to the contractor that I'm using, he was very explicit about things like, hey, if we need to replace a piece of plywood on your roof, Right now, a sheet of plywood is $70. Now, a couple years ago, that same sheet of plywood was like $25. So COVID has really disrupted supply lines, especially with things like lumber and kind of those heavier raw materials. So, that's a big concern right now. Should there be a loss? Because the market really sets the pricing on how much a repair will cost. You've got a client that's got guaranteed, rebuild, and these extended protection, it's really going to give them and you a lot of peace of mind to make sure that they have a loss, that they're going to have the appropriate coverage. Identity theft is baked into every policy we offer. And again, nowadays that's an incredibly important coverage to have, because if somebody does include a loss, there's a lot of things here that are going to help them, mitigate that and, get themselves right. Because quite honestly, if you've ever had a client who've had their identity stolen, it is hours and hours and hours often to get things set right. So this is a nice thing that is built into the policy that your clients are going to have access to. Then as we go through here, we talked a little bit about the extra endorsements for electronics and musical, and these are really, really nice, that just give that additional protection for people who may have a collection of musical instruments or, again, a lot of luxury items or sports equipment. The only thing to keep in mind is when they're musical instruments, obviously, if they are using those for business at all, playing gigs, that's something that you're going to want to check on, because obviously, depending on how much income they make from that, it can be something that would be more appropriate for those to be on a business policy. But if somebody's just a personal collector, or they play gigs, or they just don't make much money, or they volunteer, this is something that's going to be really, really nice for your clients. Home systems protection we touched on, service line coverage, as well as equipment breakdown. And then I'm going to scroll here. Again, we've got our 3 packages, our Value Plus, our Enhance Plus, and our Grand Protect. You'll notice that the differentiator on the coverage A is Grand Protect. They've got to have at least 250,000 in the coverage A. And truly, I mean, Grand Protect is going to be your highest level of coverage. This is going to be for your really high value customers that are afraid about gaps in coverage, or maybe they have very unique and complex insurance needs. The Grand Protect product is really going to make sure that they don't have any gaps. That being said, the Enhance Plus is by far our most popular in both the auto and the homeowners, because it gives you a lot of flexibility, because any of these features that are automatically included in the Grand Protect can be added on as optional in the Enhance. So it just allows people to talk to you. You guys are the trusted advisors. You're finding out what they need, and then you're able to really build a policy that fits their needs, and includes what they want and doesn't include what they don't need. I just want to talk too, though, a little bit about the Value Plus, because I think that sometimes people see that and they're like, oh, I'm not getting as good of a just a more basic policy. It still has optional coverages added on, but you'll notice as you look through, the difference of what's actually baked into the policy is pretty minimal. It just gives you, lower limits automatically that you can update and add those things. I always say that the Value Plus is a place that we really uncovered a market share that's been really exciting to us, because we couldn't capture it before when we had the old ARS products, is the first time home buyers. Somebody maybe who had a Progressive policy, they had a renters and auto policy with Progressive, and they're purchasing their first home or their first condo, and they want a policy that's got more features, or maybe they just don't have access to the homeowner's policy through Progressive, or they don't like whatever aspects of the policy. This Value Plus, for people, again, that are younger, that have more simple insurance needs, that have first-time home buyers, this is a really great, affordably priced product that's going to keep it basic, but allow you to add features as the client needs. And then, of course, there gets to be a tipping point where it just makes more sense to go up to the Enhanced Plus from a price standpoint. but you can always do multiple scenarios within the quote for that. So that's just something important to remember when you're looking at these homeowner and auto packages. All of them are great policies. It's just these move from more simple to complex, and you can see how those features are broken out and what the differences are. Down here, additional coverages are outlined a little bit more specifically. We do have some additional endorsements on the homeowners too. We had talked about the ride share coverage and the local delivery on the auto. I feel like that the sister coverage to that on the homeowner is somebody who might rent out their home if they have maybe a primary and a secondary home, and they rent out either or sometimes on VRBO or Airbnb. We actually do have an endorsement for that provides a little extra liability protection and coverage. There are rules about how many days a year they can rent out. They can't be more than 30 because obviously, sometimes it's going to make more sense that needs to just be a commercial landlord policy. But for the true homeowner that, like I said, maybe they have a primary home and they have a secondary home up on Lake Erie, they just like to rent it out enough to trusted people or just enough to pay the taxes on it. It's going to be a nice endorsement on the homeowners that's going to allow you to extend that protection. All right, I was seeing if there was anything here that I was missing on the homeowners products. Again, talks about the different packages. You'll see here, go down a little bit further, that's the end. I just want to make sure that I wasn't missing anything. But these product sheets have a lot of detail. But again, I really want to encourage you to just reach out to me with specific questions about things. I'm very hands-on. Normally, I will be out in the market, physically visiting people. But right now with COVID, we're pretty much all grounded until we really start seeing, vaccination across a large swath of people and our community spread going down. I'm hoping by fall I might be able to be out and about, but for the foreseeable future, we're going to be connecting virtually here through WebEx or Teams. I want to take a little bit of a pause here because I need a drink of water since I've been downloading on you guys. Tell me about what questions you might have about homeowner. What I missed that you might have questions about? Any additional questions about features or anything? What questions can I answer about the homeowners?